My name is Gina Dalton, and for 48 years I lived in a family where daughters were meant to serve and sons were meant to inherit, a curse passed down like a grim family tradition. And 15 years ago, my father, Harold Dalton, called a family meeting demanding I hand over my daughter Lily's $50,000 college fund so my brother Vincent's son Marcus could go to Yale. And I remember the hissing voice of my sister Pamela inches from my face, telling me that my daughter was average and would end up exactly like me, a nobody, before she spat in my face in front of our entire family, while my father watched silently from his armchair, saying nothing. And the silence in that room became a memory etched into my skin, a moment that would define my choices for years to come. Yet last month, at the same family reunion, my average daughter descended from a helicopter onto that very lawn and placed in my now homeless sister's trembling hands an opportunity that left everyone still talking. But to understand that, we need to start at the Dalton family home, a sprawling three-acre white colonial outside Savannah, Georgia, where Spanish moss draped the oak trees like ghostly curtains, and the American flag on the porch was replaced every 6 months, regardless of need, where the dining room had a mahogany table polished so bright you could see yourself, but only one chair had armrests, my father's throne, while the rest of us sat on identical wooden chairs, though Vincent's was always pulled closest to Dad. Always. And I was the oldest of 3. Vincent came 2 years after me, golden child, heir, pride of my father's eye, while Pamela spent her life trying to be the daughter he wanted. And me? I was a ghost in family photos, achievements ignored, my valedictorian high school graduation, my top nursing program ranking, 25 years of service awards from Savannah Memorial Hospital, dismissed by my father as glorified maid work with a stethoscope, while Vincent's framed successes lined the hallways, a visual testament to the Dalton hierarchy, and my marriage to Craig at 22, which promised the world and delivered only an empty apartment, ended when he left with his secretary when Lily was 3, and my father's verdict? I should have chosen better, as if I had potential to squander, while my grandmother, Margaret Brennan, my mother's mother, was the only person who believed in me, whose words about worth and resilience echo in my heart, and she had already taken steps to protect me and Lily from the family's cruelty, setting up a trust for Lily's education, an act of foresight and quiet rebellion against the patriarchal tyranny I had endured. Yet my daughter and my cousin Marcus grew up worlds apart under the same family roof. Marcus, tested gifted at 6, a chess champion, private tutors, prep school with $40,000 annual tuition, navy blue blazer with gold threading, sitting at the family dinner table as a future Dalton legacy, while Lily, public school, Target t-shirts, B+ average, homework at the kitchen table while I cooked dinners after 12-hour ER shifts, always tucked away at the kids' table, unacknowledged, my father's praise reserved only for the prodigious boy. And when Yale accepted Marcus, champagne popped, tears of joy from Harold Dalton, celebration over what was always assumed to be inherited brilliance. And yet the cost of that brilliance fell to me, the call arriving weeks later, a demand that I give Lily's $50,000 trust fund to pay for Marcus's first year, my blood running cold, my exhaustion from double shifts fading into a steely determination. And I refused, citing grandmother Margaret's irrevocable trust, legally independent, unbreachable by Harold, Vincent, Pamela, or myself, leaving Lily untouched, a reminder that our worth could not be determined by blind patriarchs. Pamela's contempt and venom only solidifying my resolve as she spat in my face again that day, while my father murmured we were disappointing the family, and I wiped the spit calmly, handing over a clear message that no one could control Lily's future except Lily herself. And in the years that followed, life was harsh, but Lily thrived quietly, community college paid by the trust, working part-time, commuting, studying at the kitchen table, while I picked up extra shifts, sold my car, lived frugally. The Dalton family fading into silence, until news trickled in of Marcus dropping out of Yale, Vincent bankrupt, Pamela losing everything to Richard, the women's shelter our new reality for her, and through it all, Lily never complained, building skills, learning programming, creating an energy tracking app, competing in hackathons, drawing the attention of investors, and eventually being offered $500,000 seed funding to launch Green Path Technologies, a company dedicated to helping small businesses monitor carbon footprints, renewable energy, and sustainability, all while living modestly, working tirelessly, embodying the principles my grandmother instilled. And yet, when the invitation arrived 15 years later for the Dalton family reunion, she had something much larger in mind, a demonstration of vision, compassion, and legacy, arriving in a sleek black Airbus H-130 helicopter, descending onto my father's front lawn, dressed in a second-hand Armani slate gray suit, leather briefcase in hand. The family stunned silent, faces cycling through shock, confusion, fear, and awe, as Lily stepped forward and addressed the patriarch who had once dismissed her and her mother, stating clearly she was not there for reconciliation, but to honor Grandmother Brennan's legacy, to show that the values of hard work, resilience, and generosity could outshine entitlement and cruelty. And then she revealed the Margaret Brennan Foundation, a $5 million charitable initiative for women in crisis, single mothers, survivors of domestic abuse, and women who had lost everything. And she offered my sister, Pamela, a spot in its accounting certification program, 6 months of free training, housing, and mentorship, demonstrating that transformation and second chances were possible, even for those who had caused harm. The family dumbfounded as Harold Dalton's empire of expectations crumbled silently. Marcus shrinking into a corner, Vincent and Barbara frozen in disbelief, Pamela trembling as she accepted the opportunity, and my heart swelled watching the woman who spat on me 15 years ago receive help rather than scorn, while my daughter remained the calm, unassuming force of change, CEO of a $200 million company, yet humble, grounded, and driven, teaching me the ultimate lesson about family, power, and legacy, proving that inheritance is not about wealth, bloodlines, or entitlement, but about courage, integrity, and the choices we make to lift others as we rise. The helicopter's rotors still echoing in my memory as a symbol of the day the Dalton family witnessed what average really meant when paired with heart, determination, and vision. And as we left that lawn, Lily and I together, the past and its scars left behind, the years of rejection and cruelty replaced with quiet pride and the knowledge that the future we choose is far more important than the family we were born into. The inheritance of respect, opportunity, and moral strength now ours to share. Pamela's life beginning anew through the Foundation's guidance, Marcus facing his failures, my father's empire quietly collapsing around him, and Lily, the daughter I once worried was too ordinary, standing as a testament to resilience, intelligence, and generosity, proving that ordinary people can do extraordinary things, that one small trust fund could have created devastation in the wrong hands, but created miracles in the right ones, that love, patience, and foresight can counteract decades of entitlement, cruelty, and neglect, and that the most powerful inheritance isn't money, it's the courage to stand up for what is right, to protect those you love, to build something meaningful, even when the world expects you to fail. And as I sit in our home now, retired from nursing, tending a garden that blooms quietly yet vibrantly, I watch Lily grow her company, her foundation, and her impact. And I know that the helipactor landing on that lawn was not just a dramatic entrance, it was the arrival of justice, vision, and hope, a literal and figurative manifestation of everything my grandmother had intended, a reminder to all that the future belongs not to the entitled, but to those willing to work, to forgive, and to rise. And every time I see Lily at her desk, late at night, immersed in code, in emails, in the lives she's changing, I remember every insult, every dismissal, every spit, every moment I felt powerless, and I am filled with pride.
because the family who once dictated our worth now watches from the sidelines as the daughter they labeled average becomes the woman they can't ignore, teaching them lessons about humility, kindness, and the quiet strength of perseverance, showing that true legacy is built with integrity, vision, and action, not with inheritance or favoritism, and that the most overlooked, underestimated, and dismissed individuals may, in time, become the ones to change the world, leaving behind the family politics, the entitlement, the cruelty, and instead creating something meaningful that echoes far beyond the lawns of Savannah, Georgia, in hearts and minds, in opportunities, in futures, in lives changed. And that, more than anything, is the inheritance I am proudest to leave my daughter and the world.